to the most consequential. I'm talking. Welcome back to the most consequential, important podcast of the 21st century. Are we in the 21st century? We're in the 21st century. You and I were born in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Who versus episode 6003? Boy, we got a big one tonight. We got a couple thought experiments to see. We're going to psychoanalyze Phil. We're going to see where he goes. We're going to talk about $1 billion tax-free, Phil's parking lot dilemma, human body part farms, and what happens if you find out your wife is actually your half-sister. So where do we begin? I guess, all right. So here's the thought experiment I posed to you yesterday, and I guarantee you didn't think through it. You didn't put any work into it.
No.
But I did.
That's the only work you did yesterday.
You are given $1 billion with a B dollars tax-free. Your account just has $1 billion in it, right?
Yeah.
That's a 1, a comma, and then 9 zeros. What do you do?
So there's a couple
How
ways.
you answer this is how I'm going to think about you for the rest of your life.
So it can only go up from here. So I'm not going to get
what I just saw off camera. Yes.
So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can get mired into details about, what about, buying property and paying taxes, all that stuff.
T-bonds.
I'm just going to have fun with it.
Sure.
I don't think mine's going to be too exciting. I think I'm spending
True to form.
a lot of money on buying. Well, first off, I'm never working again.
Okay.
I'm not working again.
That's huge, though.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if maybe this comes off my work, but I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I work hard because you got to put food in it. No.
Everyone notices.
Right. I would never work again.
Yeah.
I buy
for a paycheck, like go sit in a desk.
Right. I mean, I'd probably become a gentleman farmer.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I'd be a gentleman farmer.
That's it. You're done.
The rest of it, I would make sure that the next 3 generations of my family are taken care of.
But you're going to ruin them. That's what I'm saying. See, you didn't.
Not if they're farming with me.
You didn't think this through, or you're stupid. Oh, go on.
I would. You can farm in Florida. I'd move back to Florida. I'd buy farming land.
You grow there. It's just cattle, right?
There's cattle.
Just beef cattle.
And
that's
strawberries.
Like Central Florida.
Plant City,
there is
Florida.
A strawberry capital of the
Plant City, Florida.
Universe?
Might be.
Country.
Yeah. Plant City, Florida. I've been there. Yeah. It's nothing but
plants.
Like Dodges and strawberry farms.
What do you mean Dodge?
The truck.
Dodge truck?
Dodge truck, yeah. So I'd go there, not Plant City. I'd buy a farm, gentleman farmer, kids are homeschooled. We're on 50,000 acres of land. I don't know what that costs.
That's a lot.
Whatever's left over,
all of Florida.
I'm investing in
50,000 acres.
Just long-term assets. Oils
or crude oil?
Yeah, crude oil,
Synthetics.
avocado oil, all the oils.
Yeah. That's so many.
I'm long on avocado oil futures.
All right. So have you thought about what the cost is for 50,000 acres in Florida?
No.
Of prime cattle country?
I thought we established I didn't put any work into this.
Okay, yeah. So I think thought experiment over. This has been nothing but a backfire. Okay. No, shut up. Let me talk for a minute. Because I did think
you asked me.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
Right? I don't have to pay taxes on it.
Right.
Which, this is a thought experiment, right? So I take half. That's $500 million. And I invest that. Just right off the top, $500 million. And I did a little bit of mathematics. The maths. At an 8% return, that's $40 million a year at 8%. At 5%, it's $25 million a year. Right? So $500 million, I take that. Out of all that investment, I give 10 to 20% to church/charity. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I support the church or causes I believe in, right? Right now I work in causes I believe in, but I don't support them financially, or I do at a very, very small scale. I could maybe sit on the boards of some of these things and start directing them. All right. The other $500 million, I just spend it on whatever I want. Whatever I want. I just blow it.
You just blow it.
I get every car I ever wanted. So like a 1987 Monte Carlo Super Sport.
Why not?
I just get that. Every gun I've ever wanted. Get some handmade English shotguns.
Are you moving houses?
Yeah.
You're gonna move
that's the other thing. Yeah. For day one, pay off my mortgage. In cash, done.
So you'd live in the same house you are now?
I I don't know. I probably wouldn't. No, I'd do like a gentleman farmer thing, but I would just have a massive amount of land in an area, strategic area. I won't say where. Probably the Midwest, maybe upper Midwest, close to the sources of fresh water, like the Great Lakes. But like you, 50,000 acres, so I never see anyone again. Right?
Do you know what the difference is
and
between
I just,
a
quiet.
Do you know what the difference is between, this is not a joke, a redneck and a hillbilly? Our mutual friend Tripp once told me the answer to this.
Well, hillbillies live in the hills.
Hillbillies live near water. That's what he said. He said the
opposite,
difference is rednecks are on flat land and hillbillies live in the mountains near water.
In the mountains mountains makes it hillbilly.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess I'd be I don't like mountains, so I'd be a flatland redneck.
You'd be a flatland
hillbilly.
redneck.
I'd be a hybrid.
Yeah.
So then I just turn that into my ultimate, set up a go-kart track, turn it into an awesome hunting property. Maybe a sweet garden, sort of like what we talked about on homesteading. I would do that. But I blow $500 million. Because the problem with this is the lottery is a tax on stupid people, right?
Yes.
And it's really a tax on poor people. And
Just like gambling.
the Venn diagram is a pretty good overlap of stupid and poor. It's almost a 1-to-1, right? But when one of these rednecks or whoever finally wins the thing, they have so little financial acuity or sense or discipline, they just, boom, they blow it. So to protect myself from, because I'm basically that person, not great impulse control. We talked about the experiment where if you tell a kid or 41-year-old man, put a marshmallow in front of me and tell me if I don't eat it in 5 minutes, I could have 2 marshmallows. By the time that's out of his mouth, I've eaten the marshmallow.
Yeah.
So I limit the damage. I lock up $500 million in, and 8% is a modest return. So I'm safe.
Wouldn't you just pull that money out? If
I won't.
You blow $500 million?
An investment guy has it. Or it's in trust, or I'm not even financially literate, so I can't even log into my current accounts all that well. So I'm just living off the gravy of the $500 million. The other $500 million, I blow it hard, right away. Trucks,
toys,
cars, toys, literal toys,
wooden
Hot Wheels and stuff. RC cars.
Are you still working?
I think play becomes work, and setting up the 50,000 acre
your whole day becomes
compound.
10 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hot Wheels. 11:15 to 1:45.
In fairness, that's my
break
current
time.
That's my current schedule. It's more like 6 to 7 or 7 to 8 is Hot Wheels. But no, I'm setting up my property just so I can have more fun. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. That
so
makes sense.
I can throw care to the wind and blow it on junk, but only half, and the other half. My lineage, my children, my children's children. I got scholarship funds set up.
I kind of feel
with
like
the gravy from the
we
other
said the exact same thing, except you said the word 8% APR.
That's exactly
the only difference between
difference.
what, and yet I got dumped on for not taking this seriously.
I did one bit of math, and that makes me better than you. I used a calculator on my phone. Take that, Mrs. Analac.
Yeah, I guess I would worry about. Is that your math teacher?
It was like 3rd grade. Wow. She's a real jerk of a lady.
That's a grudge.
You're not always going to have a calculator with you.
Yes, I will.
Wrong answer, turkey.
Yeah, I had Miss McClellan. She was my 2nd grade teacher. Real sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd buy this farm. I guess what I'd worry about is my kids becoming spoiled, but also to my point about not working. I do think people have to do something.
Yeah,
you got to do something.
You're gonna go nuts
of meaning. That's why I'm saying I would take care of the land.
Yeah, you're a gentleman farmer. Okay, so we had you're right. We came up with the exact same thing. I was heavier on toys, and I did 2 math problems.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
That's why this show works, because you and I say the exact same thing without any disagreements.
Yeah, who wants to disagree? I only want people around me that I don't want to be challenged.
I remember yesterday.
I want to be reinforced with an echo
We were
chamber.
talking about this yesterday. I toyed with the idea, and I guess I did do some math. I toyed with the idea of buying my entire neighborhood.
Yes,
buying every house in my neighborhood. So I live in a neighborhood with about 2,000 houses. For $1 billion, I can buy every house in that, literally almost every house in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so I have 2 options. I live alone with my family in this essentially abandoned neighborhood.
Like a ghost town.
Which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
No, crime would be 0. I would still have police, Police are there for us. They're patrolling. It's like a North Korean town.
Discounting your crimes.
Right. I'd be committing
You would
crimes.
be committing
Can
crimes.
I commit crimes in a neighborhood that I own every house?
Betcha you never speed in the neighborhood one time.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So crime goes virtually to zero.
Virtually, I'm still committing some crimes.
The place is abandoned.
Is it abandoned? Would suggest there's no ownership. I own these houses.
Yeah, but no one lives there.
But no one lives there. So two options. One, I keep it abandoned. I have a probably have 50 police officers there just to maintain order. So that's my first option. Is me and my family live in this weird North Korean style fake town.
Yeah.
With just us there. The other option, I think this is what I would do. I would essentially give the houses away to people I like, and build a community of people that I 100% agree with.
Away.
Why not?
Lease them because
Well, they'd have to pay the mortgage.
it's like welfare. You give it away, people don't value it. If you, they got to have some skin in
At
the
least
game.
pay the mortgage every month, and
Yeah.
they never own the house.
Right.
It's mine.
So you become BlackRock, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But like a really nice one.
Yeah. A benevolent
A
BlackRock.
benevolent BlackRock.
Not one that is hell bent on destroying our
Yeah,
society.
turning us into lizard people or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
You know what? I'd probably do that. I'd probably do that.
Phil's parking lot dilemma.
Yeah. Okay.
Rough transition.
Okay. I got to be careful about this because
This is real life.
This is real life. Yeah. Here's my thing. You and I park in the same parking lot. Let me just say the parking lot attendant that we have, awesome guy.
Great guy.
Really good guy. And this is the dilemma. You and I park in the same place. In front of our reserved spots, there are orange cones.
Correct.
Blocking off where we're supposed to park. If he's otherwise engaged, I park my car, I get out while it's still running, I move the cone and I move it to his little...
I do the same.
You do
Yeah.
the same. Interesting you would say that. And I had done this for 2 or 3 weeks because I just got this spot. And then one day I get out, I move the cone, and he goes, let me just tell you, man, you are the only and for those who don't know, the attendant is black,
African American.
African American. And he goes, just want you to know, you're the only person that moves the cones. And then I said to him, I go, can I swear a little bit?
It depends on what it
It's
is.
the S word.
Yeah, sure.
I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up. I go,
Yeah.
you got to be ishing me. And I think this black guy was making fun of like my whiteness. He goes, no, I am not ishing you.
This doesn't sound like a dilemma. This sounds like
Well,
an awesome thing.
We're getting there. We're getting there. So
yeah.
for the next like 2 or 3 days, I kind of had this like,
So you're locked in now. I get it.
I had this smug sense of self-satisfaction. Like,
Yeah.
I am a friend of the working man.
Yeah.
Like I felt better
That is
than
pretty
everybody
smug.
because he had never asked me to move the cones. I just did it because the guy's busy. I'm not gonna. In fact, he told me some people will literally wait in their car
Sometimes I do.
for him to move the cones.
Sometimes I
Well,
do.
then maybe you're part of the problem here.
Maybe I am. If it's raining, I'm not going to get wet.
See,
I went to college.
get out. I get
I
out.
went to law school.
you wear a suit to work.
A white collared shirt.
A white collared shirt. Let's not bring race into it, but you went to college. So anyway, he says, most people never do this. They'll just sit in their car waiting for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine. So I'm smug for 2 or 3 days, but then it just starts gnawing at me because for like the next week or so, he's never taken my cone away.
Yeah.
All I do is take my cone away, and he's in his booth. We're making eye contact.
So he sees you and he's like,
There's that punk.
there's that guy who thinks he knows what it's like to be blue collar or
Right.
whatever.
So
Get his own cone.
and and his booth is let's say 15 feet away from where my parking spot is. So he sees me coming.
locked in.
I look at him
And he's like,
in his booth, and he just goes like this.
newspaper.
Right.
Up over-
He just looks at me, and I'm like, I keep doing this. I keep taking the cone away, but I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. Do I tell him I pay for you to move my cone? Do I keep solidarity with the working man?
I don't know.
Do
That
I
is a
wait
dilemma.
in the car? I feel like if I talk to him, it's going to ruin my relationship with him.
Hey,
And he's gonna
viewers
sabotage-
at home, can I do this? Can I do break the fourth
Yeah.
wall? We're not acting. I don't know what it's not the fourth wall. Viewers at home, write in the comments, like and subscribe. write in the comments what you think. What should Phil do?
Yeah, I don't know how to solve this.
Don't forget to thumbs up.
And click the bell.
That's funny. All 78 of you.
Yeah. I don't know what to do here.
Yeah,
like
you're in a jam. That is
Yeah.
a dilemma.
It's unsolvable.
Yeah, that's Zeno's paradox
Because
right there.
if I don't, what is that?
I don't know.
Xenu?
No, Zeno. That would be a funny skit, though, to change Zeno's paradox into Xenu's paradox, and it's like Thetan levels. Are we getting too far off?
A little bit. So I don't know what to do. If I, and again, he's super. As far as I can tell, he's a nice guy.
He's a super nice guy.
And it's like I just know what to do. If I have three options. One, I continue as we are, and I keep moving the cone, which isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Second, but like at the same time, it is a perk of having such a great job, right? Like. It's like, you go to a restaurant, perk of going to the restaurant is free bread at the beginning. If they made you go to the kitchen and get your own bread.
Or do dishes.
It's not a perk if I'm going there to get my bread. So that's the first option is I keep doing this. Second option, I tell him, it's like, hey.
Get that cone.
Move that cone, which seems like a real jerk move to do. Three might be the worst option, which when I go park,
run it over.
When I show up in my parking spot, I just sit in my car and wait for him to move it. That's the most passive aggressive, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. What would Uncle Kevin do?
Probably rob that guy and beat the hell out of him.
He'd pull him out of that booth.
Yeah.
This dude doesn't respect you anymore.
We should get Kevin on the phone to answer this question.
We should have him as a regular caller.
Yeah.
Of course, he'd be like, we had to say like pre-reformed Kevin. What would you do?
Right. New Kevin would probably be like, I'll move my own cone. I don't need to be pampered.
Both would move their own cone. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He would. He just would. He's not going to have people
Kevin.
Waiting on him.
No.
Like, he's just a regular guy.
I don't know what to do with this guy.
You're jammed up. You got to lay him out.
That's not an answer to my problem.
Jaw him. He'll never respect you otherwise.
You think it's a lack of respect?
No, he probably respects you because you moved the cone. Don't punch him. Let me recant. Don't punch him.
I do think it's funny that he goes, no, I am not ishing with you.
No,
like he said it in like a really weird, like white voice.
Yeah, I love.
He was just making
Eddie
fun of me.
Murphy's white guy voice is like the funniest thing I've ever seen. That's a real dilemma.
What do I do?
That's a real. You're sitting on the horns of a dilemma right now.
Tiffany, do we have any callers who want to talk about this?
Nope.
Tiffany's not even here.
Human body part farms.
Yeah.
What is this all about?
Okay.
Listen to how my voice goes up.
That's how the parking lot attendant spoke to me. No, I am not ishing with you. Okay.
Don't do that when I'm drinking. Almost a lot.
Do you want to talk about this article?
A spit take. I read the article.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? Basic.
Because I got a theory on this.
You want to go through? I'll go through the
lay
premise.
it out what the article is.
So the article is in MIT's technology review or something. First of all, I don't believe the article. They're already doing this, if not here, certainly by U.S. grants in China, probably. So anyway, they were saying through embryonic stem cells, or what are the stem cell that can become any type of cell? Like it just
Stem cell.
Yeah, but there's some stem cells that are like they have to go this way. These are like totally blank slate stem cells. They can become anything. They were saying, let's grow these stem cells into non-conscious humans, people, in a farm and just keep them in a lab. And when you need an organ, you just get an organ from this thing that's not conscious.
But the crazy part is
just like you.
They specifically said brainless human bodies. Yeah. They're going to grow them without a brain.
Yeah.
So my thought is, if they're even considering that, it means they know they can do it or they are doing it. They are doing it.
They've already done like stem cell embryos up, not to the point of viability, but there's like fake uteruses or uteri that they've done. Like they've done this.
Like
they probably did it 20, 30 years ago. Alex Jones has been talking about this forever.
Yeah, spider goats. Remember that?
Human animal hybrids and chimeras. But anyway, they're doing this. They grew a human ear on a rat.
Yeah.
Like we've all seen that picture. So they're doing it. They're laying the groundwork, or the technical term I think is programming. They're programming us to get used to that. These human body part farms. Look, I get the idea. Have a spare you growing in a lab so that if you get banged up, you just take the parts out of that one, or even take your brain out and put it in the other one. It's like having a second body in case this one gets trashed.
Oh my gosh,
that's
I
part
hadn't
of
thought
that
about that.
transhumanism stuff that they're all doing.
I hadn't even thought about taking your brain out and putting it into the brainless one.
Spare. So it's like, oh, you get a kidney infection and they have to take out both kidneys. Don't wait on the transplant list. Just pull one from your spare body part.
Okay. Thought experiment. Another thought experiment. Is there any movie that's ever been made where cloning or human clones or human clone farms has ever been a good thing? where there's a happy ending?
No, it's
Name
never.
one. Doesn't exist.
But those are movies.
That's what I'm
That's not
saying.
real
Like
life.
even in like,
Did you know that movies aren't real life?
first off, I consider Judge Dredd to be historical fact.
Yeah. Future fact. I don't. Doesn't matter.
Anyway,
moving on.
No,
and their point was like they tried to make a moral argument, like transplant donor lists are too long and you can't get them. What if we just grew these ones and we didn't have to do immunosuppressive drugs? Your body would never reject this transplant because it would be already your DNA. It's disgusting.
You know what this is?
That's what they're doing.
This is them. I think some of these people are legitimately quacks and they just want to see what you can do. But also, these are people without morality. My understanding is you can do all the stem cell stuff without fertilizing like an egg. So you can go down the path where you fertilize an egg, in which case, if you kill it, it's immoral.
It's a
or
murder.
Right, or you can go down the path where you don't fertilize it
From the ground up in Oregon.
Right, and so like they have a choice.
Yeah.
They are choosing to do this for whatever reason. Do you want to know my theory? I thought about this article yesterday. I have a theory about this.
We should put the article in the notes so people, the viewers at home. Anyway, go on. What's your
I have a theory about this, and it ties in with AI.
Of course.
You ready for this?
Transhumanism, baby. Let's
ready?
hear it.
They're going to put the consciousness of an AI into people. And the AI can communicate with all the other brainless humanoids and just kill us.
Yeah, a clone army.
It's not going to be robots. They're going to put these, because like, we are human beings. We want to see other people.
It's a cybernetic organism. This is Terminator.
That's why
This
the
is
Terminator
Matrix.
had to
This is
look like
Terminator.
a person. Right?
Yeah.
That's why Terminator had to look like a person so it could infiltrate.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here. And it's the uncanny valley effect. Like, we won't like sync up with robot faces. That's why all the robots they always try to make them look very, very human. But there's just something about a synthetic material, no matter how good it is, you can tell.
Yeah.
Not if it's a literal human DNA clone without a brain.
Or with a brain that is a supercomputer brain that is AI.
Right, and it'll walk AI. It'll walk around like a person. It'll look like a person. It might even sweat like a person.
It will
but
kill
it'll be
without
an AI.
remorse or feeling.
That's right, and
That's
it
what
just
they're doing.
won't ever stop.
It's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. They're
Someone
putting
told
AI in the
me,
humanoids.
I saw some video. Someone told me whenever I say someone told me or like someone sent me this video, I'm talking about AI. Algorithm sent this to me, but this lady claiming that like Terminator 1 and 2, Matrix 1, 2, and 3 is like Terminator 4, 5, and 6. Like those movies are together.
Like
they
they're part
tell
of the
the
same
same
universe?
story, same universe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Cyberdyne Industries finally takes over. John Connor and Sarah Connor all fail, and then you get the Matrix.
yeah, but there was never in the first two movies. There was never any hint that the Cyberdyne was using people as batteries.
Well, I think what happens is if you watch Matrix, like they nuke the sun to take the solar power away. That's when the machines are like, all right, we'll just do human farms and farm human for their bioelectricity. That's the theory, right? I don't know who wrote all.
I like when people do that when they try to connect like different
I like that
universes
too.
of movies.
That's super interesting to me.
John Wick is in the same universe as like
Driving Miss
Superman.
Daisy.
Driving Miss Daisy.
I don't know. We talked about it last week.
Morgan Freeman hits Keanu Reeves'
Yeah.
dog with his car, and then Morgan's got it.
Like, all right, okay.
I'm killing Morgan Freeman.
National treasure, that Morgan Freeman. Human body part farms. We're versus that.
Yeah, we are 100% versus that. Yeah.
100%. I'm even versus fake insulin.
What's fake insulin?
Insulin that they make out of pigs. and
Why?
Give it to.
I have no opinion on it, but why?
Because it's unnatural. I'm getting nervous now. I said I like people that agree with me. Didn't you hear that?
I don't understand. Okay.
It's unhuman. I don't believe in organ transplants either.
No, you don't. That's not true.
I don't believe in blood transfusions.
That's not true.
That is true. That's why I keep 9 pints of my own blood frozen at a lab.
Yeah. And by a lab, you mean
My-
cold freezer at a Costco.
No, I don't believe in blood transfusions.
That's
You're
not
gonna
true.
get AIDS.
That's not true.
You know AIDS people can give blood now? People with HIV positive.
I don't believe that.
That is true.
You're putting me on.
I am not. I do not believe in blood transfusions.
What's next?
And I have a DNR. Do not resuscitate. And I'm not an organ
None of this
donor.
is true.
This
you
is
believe in
all
blood
true.
transfusions, you believe in body part swapping, and you believe in
No, I
DNR.
don't. No, I
You're
don't.
telling me you go down today in a coma, you've got a DNR not to wake you up.
Do not resuscitate me.
I don't believe that. Not true.
And I want you to do it. I want you to pull the. I don't just want you to pull the plug. I want you to literally
Asphyxiate you.
kill me. No, is that what they believe in?
Yeah.
All right, yes, I am then. But I celebrate my birthday and Christmas, so I guess I'm half in.
You know, it's funny. We were saying
Jehovah's
earlier
Witnesses.
that
Do they really? I got to look into them. I got to read the Watchtower. Hell of a publication, the Watchtower.
Tiffany, can you look up what Jehovah's Witnesses believe while you're doing that? I hate to compliment James. We were saying earlier how we didn't disagree how to spend $1 billion. It's funny that you just said you want me to asphyxiate you, because I was going to say instead of pulling the plug, I would just beat you to death.
You could beat me to death.
Sure, because you're in a coma.
I'm in a coma.
Do you feel it?
No, I don't think you feel it.
Well, you
in a
can't
coma.
complain.
Yeah.
None of that
I
is
would
true.
never be in a coma.
Why not?
Boop.
Really?
Pull me.
How many children do you have?
I don't know.
He doesn't know
4 that I believe.
that you recognize.
That I recognize. No, 4 children, and they can pull the plug. I don't care. I'm not going to stay in a vegetative state.
Yeah, but if you wake up,
You never do.
they do all the time.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
All
right, give me
I need a stat.
give me a calendar month.
I need
Give me a month of Sundays, and I'll.
How many people survive a coma?
how many people? What percentage of people come out of a coma? That's what I want to know.
Pull the plug.
Before she gives us the
immediately.
answer, I'm going to bet 45% of people come out of a coma. I don't think your odds are better than 50-50. I
Maybe
think
we
if
have
you're
to define a coma. Like, I'm talking vegetative state. That was another thing in this article
there
about
degrees
human
of
body part farms. They're talking about ethically sourced people that are legally dead but biologically alive. You know, legally dead is just a made up threshold that they just like drew a line and they're like, that's legally dead. These people are not dead in any conventional sense.
I heard once that old graveyards back in the day, they used to have a little bell.
Yeah.
I don't know if this
That's
is
why.
like a future, like a social fact.
Yeah, and
but
they
in
tie
case
a
you
string
woke
around
up,
the finger,
Yeah.
or whatever, and you wake up and ding, 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 ding. Imagine being like a church warden or whatever they are
Yeah.
that has to sit out there with the long pipe and smoke in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden bells are ringing. It's like, got another one. We buried another live
that's
one.
the second this week. All right,
They
Tiffany.
find caskets with scratch marks in them.
That's not true.
Yes, they do.
Oh my God.
Percentage is 60%.
60?
Yeah.
60% of people come out of comas, and you want me to beat you to death.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want it. Do not resuscitate.
I would see the life coming back to your eyes, and I'm still strangling you.
Thumb in my
You're
eyes.
trying to tell me, no, I'm fine. Nope. Just putting a sock in your mouth, and I'm going at it.
So legally dead is just a made up thing, and they will take.
But at a certain point, you're dead.
Who's to define that?
2 weeks, you start to smell, you're dead.
Well, when you're rotting, but
Yeah.
they just say when a certain your organs are still functioning, and they're just like, oh, he's dead.
Well, that's why they keep people in those comas or whatever with the pipe and the breathing machine.
You're not
because
coming
they're
back
not-
from that. Anyway, they're harvesting organs from
Yeah,
these
that's
people.
not okay.
That's what they're doing. They're keeping legally dead people with no brain activity, but still dead.
You're telling me if you
And
have...
they're taking parts out of them and putting them in other people like a body shop.
All right, let's say that you get into a car accident
Yeah.
and you have to get both your lungs replaced. I don't know what kind of
What?
car...
What do they
with-
replace it with?
with one of these... we're just talking about organ transplants.
Okay, so
You're telling me you would rather die
I think so.
than you got 4 kids.
I think so. Yeah, I'm worth more dead than alive. You know that. It's unnatural. I don't believe it. I guess I'm a Jehovah's
Did
Witness.
you become
now.
Jehovah's Witness on this episode?
Yes. That's what we call it. James becomes a Jehovah's Witness. I'm going to knock on
That-
your door.
Tiffany,
and
that is
talk about
100%
Jesus,
what the
but not
title
really
of this
Jesus.
episode is. James becomes Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
Do you have to wear the white shirt, the black tie, and go to people's
Those
front
are
door?
Mormons. LSDs. Or no,
LSD?
that's not right. LDS.
LDS. They do go to people's houses.
But Jehovah's Witnesses definitely knock on doors.
Don't observe Christmas, Easter,
They don't do birthdays. I grew up with a Jehovah's
Me
Witness
too.
girl, and anytime we had like any celebration for any holiday in school, she'd have to go sit in the principal's office.
Wow.
Couldn't recognize her birthday. Nothing. It was,
So me and my
sounds great.
buddy, when I was a kid, me and my buddy, he lived across the street. His parents, I guess, were Jehovah or something. And when we'd have like Easter or Christmas, my parents would invite him over and like give him chocolate in contravention of what his parents wanted.
That seems like a bad idea.
That's a great idea because people should be celebrating Christian holidays.
Yeah, I know.
Or just any holiday. I don't care. Celebrate Passover.
What's that again? That's a Jewish
Holiday, yeah. Or Passover.
It's just
I don't
Good
care.
Friday now for us.
Yeah. I don't care. Celebrate a holiday. Like life without feast days is
I
ridiculous.
did Ramadan the other day.
Why?
Didn't I tell you this?
No.
Oh my gosh, my wife sends me on one of our weekly adventures where I have to pick up something on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. There's a funny meme. It's like, I've got a $40 treadmill, but nearly was murdered. My wife's happy or whatever. So I go to this place. I'm knocking on the door on a Saturday. This little guy comes out, peeking through the door, and he's like, "It is Ramadan." I'm like, well, I'm getting murdered. This is sweet. I hope the treadmill's worth it. Makes me go around the back of his house. Like, I'm definitely getting murdered now. I have to take my shoes off. I'm sitting down on a freaking Persian rug in this dude's basement. And he's, dressed like you know what. And he's like, "It is Ramadan. I'm fasting. It is my tradition to offer you tea." And I'm like, "Oh, you're not going to kill me. I'll take some tea." So he made some tea, made a little spread with like figs and dates and nuts. This whole spread, I'm sitting out there on this really nice rug. I text the wife, I'm like, "This dude's a Muslim. He's doing Ramadan." And she responds, "Tell him about Jesus." I don't think so. I'm in this dude's cave or his house.
Yeah.
And his man cave. That's what I meant. And I'm like, I'm not, like, I'll pray for him about Jesus. I'm not going to risk it right now. Nicest guy in the world. After an hour, I got the treadmill. He helps me load it into the truck. Can't see his wife or everybody. They're all like, the windows were covered in tapestries and stuff. No light was coming in. He's like, I cannot enjoy with you. I am still fasting for El Eid or some other thing. It's like, all right, sweet. Can I get that treadmill? He's like, I'm from Afghanistan. I was like, this is not 60 minutes.
No kidding.
I don't need your thing. He's like, I'm an SIV.
I don't need your life story, buddy.
He's like, I'm an SIV, special immigrant visa. There's 200,000 of them in the U.S., he tells me. He worked for the Americans. He was going to get killed, flew the family out.
You know
I'll
what?
Leave it there.
I'm
not going to comment too much. Could be a sleeper cell.
In my head, I've got you sitting there for like 2 hours, and by the end of it, you've got the robe on, you've got like a little hat, you're drinking tea, you're really getting into it.
Chieftain.
You're the chieftain now of the SIVs.
But there's a twist. I joined the Taliban. And I become the guy in the cave.
Yeah.
The top guy in Tora Bora.
I don't know if we ever talked about it on the show, but there's a great Mad TV skit from like 25 years ago where a guy is a terrorist like sleeper cell, and he's like been in America for a long time. So then one of his sleeper cell buddies comes from overseas. He's like, "All right, it's finally time to execute on Project Kill Americans." He's like, "Yeah, we could blow ourselves up, or I could show you my sweet riding mower."
That's all it
And
takes.
he's got like a blonde wife and like a bunch of blonde kids, and he's just like loving America.
Mad TV was legit. Well, here's the thing, though. I start thinking he's one of 200,000 SIV, and I think that's kids and families and stuff that came over here. Let's say, what's 1% of 200,000?
I don't know.
Let me tell you, 2,000 people.
2,000.
Okay? What if it's 0.1% of 200,000? That's 200 people.
Yeah.
It's not crazy to think that 0.1% of the people that came over that were totally unvetted are sleeper cells.
Yeah. Or at least don't love the country.
Or don't. I think it's safe to say 99.9% don't love the country and would rather be in a safe, free, prosperous Afghanistan. They have no choice.
So
Right?
do you remember the, yeah.
So I'm saying 200, that's 0.1% of the 200,000 are sleeper cell terrorists or could be easily radicalized. How many people did it allegedly take to perpetrate 9/11? 19. There was a 20th hijacker. We're talking 200 people. Imagine how bad that could be.
Yeah.
The odds are not in my favor.
I once
my
heard
friend.
somebody way smarter than you and I. We were talking about this
That's
when
not
this
possible.
SIV thing was like really popular. People who wanted the SIVs to be over here were saying, we have to bring them over because they helped us, defend our democracy and protect our homeland. And this guy goes, and this friend of ours says, actually, them coming over here to fight on our behalf on our soil would be them helping us. But us going over there to help rebuild their country is us helping them.
Yeah.
They didn't actually help us with our country. We helped them with their country.
We tried to.
So
Yeah.
tried to. So theoretically, they've got no reason to come over here. Like we were trying to make their country better, not them trying to make our
It's
country
an
better.
admission that we failed.
Well, yeah.
Like
Well,
they
many
can't
things
live in
are.
their own country.
Many things
right?
are,
Because
yeah.
they'll get killed. Also, like, not inconceivable would be like, I worked for the Americans. I pumped gas at an American
Yeah,
base
or
or
I was a
whatever.
cook.
And I was a deep state. We know what cooks can do.
Yeah.
Casey Ryback.
Casey freaking Ryback.
Yeah.
What's better, the first one or the second one?
Yeah. I'm just saying they could have been deep cover and just like worked with the Americans, but they could have been double agents, and now they're over here.
Or they could have just been a cook. Or they could have swept floors. You know, that doesn't
Doesn't
mean you
mean
get to
they
come
want
over
to be
here.
that doesn't mean they want to join the softball league
And you ever
at the
notice,
Lions Club in your neighborhood.
They put all these guys in the DMV area.
Well, this guy was telling me where they are. He said there's a large population. The largest is in the DMV area. And then he's
course.
like, we're also in, and he named a couple places. They were random.
He's
It wasn't
showing you-
like,
yeah.
it wasn't like, not Ann Arbor. What's the one in Michigan? And what's Somaliland in Minnesota? Minneapolis. Dearborn.
Dearborn.
Like, it wasn't that. It was like random places. And they're doing this.
He's showing you a big map on his wall with like thread and like pictures
It's like,
and how they're going to do it.
yeah.
How did we get on this?
I don't know.
We were talking
we
about
were talking about Ramadan.
Yeah, and then
well, I'm
you
a
became
Jehovah's
a
Witness,
Muslim.
then I became a Taliban. Not just a Muslim. I got an upgrade, premium level.
Yeah.
Human body part farms, weird. Not with them. Okay, here's another thought experiment for you. I don't think I did preview this one. Okay, so this is based on a true story. Tiffany, look it up. Don't make that face at me. I'm just kidding. She knows this is a true story because we were talking about it. This is quack fertility doctor, which first of all, I don't believe in fertility doctors, right?
No.
I believe in like 6-pack of Coors Light.
Yeah.
That's your fertility doctor.
Yeah.
Anyway, and when I say fertility, I mean the guys that do sperm bank. That's what I'm talking about.
bank.
I'm versus that.
Yeah.
Right? That's like the heart of my whole problem with putting parts from other people into myself. Blood transfusions, transplants, sperm donors. I don't believe in it. I'm versus it. This quack ran a sperm bank, and you would like select the profile. Every single one was him. Every single dude
Turns
was
out-
him.
yeah.
So thousands of women have his children out there. They're like, oh, I got a Harvard-educated, biologist. Surprise, he's a Harvard-educated. So anyway, these two people get married. They were both from a sperm bank. Kids, like they didn't have fathers, they just had biological mothers. I mean, they had fathers. You know what I mean?
Not one that
They're
cared.
going to get married. They do like a 23andMe genetic test. Boom, they're brother and sister.
That's how this story broke, right?
Half brother, half sister, I guess, technically. Different moms, same father. Still too close. So I put this to you, Phil. Let's say, hypothetically, boom, today. So you got 3 kids, you got another one on the way, you got a dog, you got a couple cars, a fenced-in house in this neighborhood. You find out that your wife, Sarah, is your half-sister. What do you do?
Wow. Well, first thing I do is make sure my kids don't have any genetic disorders.
Right. You get
First
them
thing I
tested
do.
right out of the gate. And I got to say, I'm not a doctor, but I've looked at them. They look okay. They look good.
Man, that's a tough one. I can't divorce her.
Well,
Right?
you love her.
We're married.
Yeah, that's right.
And we can't live in a, we're still married.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this one.
I've been thinking a lot about, probably too
You
much.
just gonna think a
about
lot
this.
about being married to your half sister.
To my half sister.
Yeah. I guess what I would do is we'd have a long conversation about. Well, first off, I would talk to a priest.
Yeah.
And see if this has happened before in the world.
Definitely
Like-
has, because I told you a scenario. I told you.
I mean, no, I'm saying like
It's happened.
how this has been dealt with.
Oh, yeah. How it's
Right?
been
Because there's
dealt
different ways to deal with it. You could
with.
like,
Old Testament, they were like, you're fine.
yeah, you're fine.
You're fine. You got more sisters,
You're,
right?
you're twins? Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Well, you'd have to be fraternal. But anyway.
Right. Anyway.
That's for the suits in Washington to
Yeah,
figure out.
that's for the fat cats to figure out.
Okay.
So I talked to a priest, see how the church has handled this in the past, if it's ever happened.
I'm sure it has.
I don't know if I could leave her.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know what we do about intimacy in our relationship? That's the question. That's ultimately
all
what
I
you're
really
asking.
wanted
That's
you
what
to know.
you
You
want to know
obviously
about my
can't-
intimacy life.
You cannot
And this is
continue
your
that part
weird
of it.
way to ask me about it.
Yeah. Anyway, here's my thing. If that happened to me,
40 weight.
I'm in love with my wife, right? I don't just
Well, who
like
isn't?
her. I don't just like her and like hang around
Yeah.
like she's my roommate. So if it turns out she was my half sister after the genetic testing, actually before the genetic testing, it's like boom, solid, not even pause, hard break on physical intimacy. Has to, right?
Yeah. You gotta pump the brakes, let things cool off.
No, I think you shut it off.
What's stopping you from being intimate?
Because it's your half
Because
sister.
it's your half
Yeah,
sister.
but the main issue here is like kids, obviously. But you guys are past that, so really,
I can still bear children.
I-
Because if you're still going to be married,
You just can't. I just think it's wrong.
I wonder if men and women have a different approach to this.
I would stay married to my wife just like you, do a separate bedroom thing.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be hard on the kids, but it's way worse
Yeah.
getting divorced.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tricky one. I knew it was a thought experiment. I'm saying, in a lot of states, and it may not still be the same, but like first cousins could get married if the woman was past the general age of childbearing. It's like, all right, whatever, the companionship for old people, you can marry your first cousin. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm really not. And a half sister is way too close. But you're thinking like, oh, I would never marry my half sister, but in this scenario, you
you've done
have
it.
married
You have
your
done
half,
it.
and you've done the full spectrum of things that married couples do.
Tiffany's answer makes me think that men and women would have two very different sets of answers. I think what women would say is you kind of just just continue on. Have like a
Just mulligan. Don't worry
yeah,
about it.
well, not even mulligan, but like just keep going. I think men would have a bigger problem with this than women.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I can't speak as a woman or even.
Christian standpoint,
That's what I'm concerned about. It's a crime against God.
Well, here's a question. At least in the church, one of the reasons you can get an annulment is if the person that you have married lied in their vows.
Yeah.
So for instance, like, oh yeah, sure,
Yeah.
priest, I'm open to having kids. And then 6 months later they say, actually, I lied about that.
Yeah.
I don't want kids.
Yeah,
you can get an annulment based off
Sure.
of that. Would this be not that you would want to, but could you get an annulment based off this? Like, was this not a
That's an
valid
answer-
marriage
that's a
to
question
begin with?
for a priest. I would assume, and I don't want to speak ex cathedra here. I would assume a priest and Catholic social teaching doctrine is probably like that wasn't a valid marriage because a half brother, half sister, knowingly or unknowingly, mistake of fact versus mistake of law for you law grads out there.
For you first years out there.
Yeah, any of you, one else. That's literally like the first week of law school there. It's not a valid marriage.
Wait, so then we're basically saying then the marriage doesn't count, and then so to continue to live together.
Yeah, but you really like this person. Like, I love my wife.
ChatGPT says a Catholic priest would insist on pursuing an annulment.
Okay.
Crazy. See, that's why I
But
went
that's
down
a
that.
demon saying what a Catholic priest would say.
Right, that's Chat GPT.
ChatGPT is a
Ask
demon.
Grok. Grok is the Christian
The
AI.
Christian version of AI.
That's Christian.
Do you remember in Team America World Police their AI thing that was like military intelligence? Like,
Yeah.
I think that he just talks like a dummy jock. It's like, I think they're gonna invade and then they're gonna do that. That's the funniest voice. First of all, Team America World Police, we could do like a 6-part series on just that.
Should we do a thing where we break it down,
Yeah,
in
and
great
get
detail?
the marionettes in here and
Yeah.
do it.
You
So
want to
funny.
recreate Team America
Let's
World
just do
Police
it.
with live actors?
We got a budget.
Yeah. What, Tiffany? What is our budget?
20,000.
20,000
Wow, 20,000 what? Doll
pesos.
hairs?
Pesos. Cougarans.
Rupees? Reals?
What does Grok say about the annulment?
I don't use Grok.
You don't.
I'm not gonna.
Wow. Demon.
Well,
See, I'm
you
not
don't
surprised.
sever all ties. You share children together. You still love your wife, even though she's your sister. Like, I'd still hang out. I'd stay married because divorce is so upsetting.
You know what? You want
To
to
the
you know what I
children.
think? I think what you got to do, and this is all in theory, obviously. I think what you do, whether or not the marriage is valid, so to speak, I think you got to stay with her.
Yep.
You can't be intimate.
Nope.
I think
Gotta raise those kids though.
you try to have a situation in that maybe there's 2 separate beds in the bedroom because you don't want
Yeah,
Why is dad in the guest room and
that's a
mom
good point.
here?
My
And
kids
then-
ask that most weekends. Why is dad on the couch
Why is
again?
dad's stuff on the front lawn? Now here's the kicker.
Yeah.
You got kids? Do you tell the kids?
I think when would you tell them? Right out of the gate, hey, mom and I are brother sister. Like you can't just hit them with that when they're 6.
I think it's like saying, oh, I don't know if you got like mental disease in your family or like
I think that's obvious. In my family.
in your family, or like high rates of cancer, heart disease. It's one of those things you tell, like, oh, hey, by the way,
watch out for this. It's coming
Grandpa
down the
had
pike
heart
for you.
disease. You should get yourself checked out for.
Yeah, colon
You'd be
cancer
like,
for
hey,
me or
mom
whatever.
and dad or brother and sister, get yourself tested. I think you tell them at the same age you would tell a kid that they were adopted, if they were adopted. So, the age of reason. What is that? 8, 9 years old when they can
45.
I hope to get there someday.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Tiffany's
tough.
got some text on screen. What am I looking at here?
We're gonna do a teleprompter. Well, I think this is as good a place as any.
Yeah.
I think we've sinned against God and man. We've broken the laws of our country and violated our marriages.
At least
by this thought experiment.
Yeah.
My wife's not my sister. Full disclosure.
Is that movie underrated? I feel
Twins
like
with DeVito and
yeah, like it was
Schwarzenegger?
a
It's a great
huge
movie.
hit years ago, but I
great
feel like
movie.
nobody talks about it as a comedy. It's like one of those screwball buddy comedies. They don't
80s,
make anymore.
90s screwball buddy comedies. Running Scared. Anyone? Gosh,
Nobody
they
talks
were-
about
they were
those anymore.
So good. We need buddy comedies back. Maybe
They
you
can't
and
do
I.
it.
Let's pitch you and I doing a buddy comedy. We're both cops. Already got the mustache.
Who's the grizzled one and who's the rookie?
Grizzled.
I'd have
Rookie.
to shave to be the rookie.
Yeah, that'd take 20 years off your life.
Yeah.
I think we could do it.
What?
Stay tuned. Check in next week when we talk about our buddy cop drama, comedy, not drama, comedy.